So, Mrs. Tavora, this is your second book. It's a sequel to your...
Actually, it's not the second.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a third book. Usually the first book which I had come out with was a book on short stories
Yeah,
called Shattered Lives.
right.
And I had covered mostly, there is an element of truth in what I wrote there, because I was covering lives of many women who serve in homes
Yeah,
and who have problems with husbands and the like, So I called it Shattered Lives.
fiction based on real lives.
Yes,
I see.
both fiction and real life.
I see.
So that was the first book I published. Then came this How Long Is Forever,
Yeah,
which is a autobiography.
right.
It is followed by that sequel
Yeah,
to Love and Live Again.
yeah, yeah. But
So,
yeah, you're a very known person for your voice on the airwaves. From which year to which year was that?
you see, I joined the radio in 1956.
Yeah,
Then I interrupted for about 2-3 years because children were small and children were born and all that.
yeah,
So then I went back when it was Emisora de Goa,
yeah.
and that was in 1957.
I see.
Then came the liberation.
Yeah,
I continued,
right.
but then lady announcers were being dispatched to Portugal because of safety reasons and all that. Even though I did not want to very much toe that line,
Yeah, yeah.
I was forced to do it because the director said that everything will be taken care of there.
I see.
I had 5 children. So going abroad with 5 children, the youngest being 2 years,
I see.
was a big challenge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But then I was not prepared to leave them behind also.
yeah.
So they guaranteed me that they would be looked after, which they did very well.
Yeah.
And then I continued working there for Radio
Broadcasting.
Lisbon. Broadcasting for Radio Lisbon.
In English.
In English.
Okay, okay, okay.
And it so happened that when I was broadcasting there,
Yeah,
that some persons heard me in Africa.
I see.
We were broadcasting a program here to the Middle East and Africa just before liberation.
Yeah, yeah,
So those people had heard me here.
yeah.
So they questioned people there on the radio, the announcers and all that.
Yeah,
How is that the Goa voice of Mrs. So is being heard
I see.
in Portugal? So they said she has come here as a refugee.
I see. But was it tough in Portugal, or was life tough there, or because something you were not used to?
No, amazingly, I felt very comfortable
Yeah,
because I had relatives also there.
I see.
I had a brother who was doing his medicine there.
I see.
So it didn't become very difficult for me to manage, and the people were very nice.
Yeah,
As I always feel, even till today, that the Portuguese are very nice people.
I see.
Then when I compare working conditions
Yeah,
here on All India Radio when I came back,
yeah,
and Emisora Nacional in Portugal, I felt that there was much more humane aspect to
I see.
treating people than we did over here. Here, even though we say democratic, there was a lot of difference between the Catholics and Hindus initially, which of course gradually it waned down.
yeah. Yeah. And but why? What prompted you to come back from Portugal?
You see, number one, I had all my relatives here, husband's relatives were there. There were properties we had here.
Yeah.
So my husband was of the opinion that we should go and settle there. I told him, I said, see, what are you going to do about the properties here? We don't know what the new government will do. So I said, if you insist that you want to come back, you want to come to Portugal, he had never been there, that you want to come to Portugal, then you come and settle here. He's got his family there, but I will go back to Goa.
And
So
then you came back to Goa, and it was a very successful stint on the radio here.
Yes,
but a lot of problems also.
Yeah, like always, no, there
Like
are
always.
problems too. But I was very well received
Yeah.
because
Which were the peak years of yours in Goa? Which were the best years in Goa?
the best years were 69, 70s. 60s years, late 60s,
Yeah.
70s.
Radio was very popular then
Where?
in Goa.
Yes, very
Extremely popular.
Especially across the borders.
Outside Goa?
outside Goa. We used to receive letters of good programming,
I see.
recognition, letters, gifts. What
I
we
see.
said, yes, gifts is to be sent. The station directors to be very happy to see that we were getting that much of
I see.
attention. But it was very nice, and people were genuinely happy to see that we were putting across something
Yeah.
which they also liked.
Yeah.
But for me,
Yeah.
it was a great challenge coming back here and trying to adapt to
Yeah.
different types of people who were part of All India Radio.
Yeah.
And if I
And
return,
westernization was frowned upon in those days also, no? It wasn't Western music and
yes,
all
yes,
over. Like
they were cutting down Western
Yeah,
music.
in fact, even Bollywood film music was not very much allowed in All India Radio in those days. It was more
it
classical
was-
stuff.
Yes, more classical. Bollywood, Hindi programs were not very popular
Yeah,
at that time. But for me, what was happened that for me the radio was like personal possession. I loved broadcasting. So whatever I put across, I did it with
Yeah.
love.
and it shows.
Yes, and it shows. And then when some years back, 20 years after I retired,
Yeah,
I was interviewed by
FM.
FM. They, one of the persons who spoke to me on the radio,
Yeah.
said that he had always felt that I had put something personal of myself in
Yeah.
those programs. That's why they were so successful. Because those programs, like for example, Your Favorites,
Yeah,
is remembered till today. And I often tell my children, I tease them, you all will bury me one day, but Your Favorites will still be remembered.
I see.
But that's what I feel, and I feel happy about it.
So, which were your favorite programs in those days?
My favorite programs, it was always the favorite, Your Favorites.
Your
was
favorite
Your
was the
Favorites.
request program on
It
Sundays.
Sundays,
Sunday
from 1
afternoon.
to 2. Then there was another request program which went on the air every Friday.
Yeah,
That was called Your Choice.
your choice. Friday night.
Friday night. That was also very, very popular.
Yeah,
And I used to say that closing the program, wishing them good night.
yeah.
People afterwards used to tell me, instead of putting us to sleep, used to keep us awake by what you used to say
I see.
and how you used to say. But I used to say with how I felt.
Yeah.
which
In those
made-
days, Western music was in real short supply in Goa. If we wanted to hear Western music, it was very difficult. And especially for a lot of us who may have come from other parts of the world, resettled in Goa, it was tough, no? I think only,
It was tough because we didn't have the material.
yeah,
Records were difficult to come by. Then we started a program
yeah,
because we got an offer from Brazil to send records here
from where?
from Brazil.
Brazil.
So we had a special one day a week program
I see,
uh, putting across Brazilian music,
I see.
which became very, very popular. Because Brazilian music somehow has always been popular among Goans.
That's true.
So that helped us a great deal because getting records was becoming difficult.
I see.
It was much later that the government of India decided to accept records that were being sent by Portugal to India.
I see,
They were coming to Delhi.
I see.
Still, for some reason, they were holding it back. We could have improved our output of English programs, but I don't know what it might have been some
Political reasons.
political that they held back. But anyway, we tried to give our best. As for me, I gave all I could
Yeah.
to the radio because even till today, there are times when I hear a song and I say what I would have said on the radio if I was there and say it to myself. That is how much sometimes I miss not being on the radio. And I feel happy that people also think that when I was there, I did what I could and I did the best.
You grew up in Pune and Pune and places like that.
Yes, I grew up because my father sent my sister and me
Yeah.
for English studies. He didn't send us for Portuguese study. So we were sent to the convent, Jesus and Mary. And we studied there, both of us, my sister and me. Then of course, at that time, we used to want to get daughters married early.
Yeah.
So after we finished school, came home, my father was thinking of settling us. But you know that settling is not so easy. My sister accepted it very gracefully and all that. I was the rebel. I could somehow accept an arranged marriage and all that. Even though sometimes when I look back, I think sometimes it is good, but sometimes it doesn't work. No.
That's true.
So days in Pune were very nice because the nuns were very good, English and Irish nuns. So all our schooling was done there.
And these two books that you've written, how would you describe them? The first biography and the second one. Which aspects of your life do they look at?
You see, the first one covers mostly my childhood and how I spent it, partly with my parents and sometimes with my grandmother in Anjuna. That attachment of a grandchild to a grandmother, I have not seen so